Hello, greetings. Welcome to this episode of Just a Few. My name is Patrick Antoine, your host, as I respond to questions submitted to me. Let's get right away into today's question. It has to do with Christmas. And the question, simply stated, is, should Christians celebrate Christmas? Now, let me preface my answer with a couple observations here. We live in a multicultural society here in Trinidad and in most Western cultures now, and there are many religious persuasions in most societies. One of my observances is that so-called Christian celebrations or observances are possibly the only ones of the religious celebrations in which alcohol, drunkenness, partying, and all types of acts of debauchery are part and parcel of it. You look at in our society, if there's a Hindu festival, no alcohol, no meat, everybody goes through times of some type of fasting. If it's a Muslim observance, again, no alcohol, times of fasting, and so-called Christian observance, people fill their houses with alcohol, they flock to places to party and get drunk, and you wonder, well, what is it about Christian observances that people think it's a time to just get drunk and make merry? Well, the only conclusion I've ever been able to come to about that is the devil knows what he wants to corrupt, and he doesn't need to corrupt something that he is happy with. I will just leave that there alone. There's no denying that pagan influences have been allowed into a lot of things that today are branded as Christian, and there's no difference with Easter and Christmas. If you look at something like Christmas trees, straight out of Babylonianism. Read Jeremiah chapter 10 and you'll see Jeremiah the prophet condemning that among the Jewish people who have allowed Babylonian ways to come into their midst. The whole question of the Yuletide season, that's an ancient Roman pagan observance where with the midwinter Saturnalia observances, people would cut down Yule logs, as they were called, branches, and bring them into their houses in honor of this worship, this pagan festival. It has just been sort of like sanitized a bit and make it to look like if it's, well, Christian. It's not. Even the nativity scenes at Christmas, you need to go back to ancient Assyrian and Babylonian religion and learn about Semiramis and so on, and the whole cult of Assyrian religions, and it has just been sanitized to make it look as if it has something to do with Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. No, that's part of the whole sanitizing of things to make it look Christian. Even at Easter time, the whole question of bunnies and Easter eggs and so on, that has nothing to do with the Bible and Christianity, but it's at the center of it in popular culture. So a lot of pagan influences have crept in and been given a veneer of Christianity, supposedly, and we accept it as part of Christianity when they have nothing to do with Christianity, and in some cases they are very pagan. Let me let you know right here now, as Christians, don't waste your time trying to reverse the influence of paganism or commercialism on things like Christmas and Easter. That's not going to happen. Leave that alone. That has been entrenched in society. That's how society views these celebrations. So it's futile to try to seek to reverse the impact of paganism and culture and commercialism on these activities. Let me let you know that nothing is mentioned in the Bible about the exact date of Jesus' birth. The early Christians in the book of Acts did not celebrate the birth of Christ. But the fact that something is not mentioned in the Bible does not necessarily mean that it's all pagan and it's wrong to celebrate it. In the Gospel according to John chapter 10 verse 22, we read about Jesus in Jerusalem when they were celebrating a feast called Dedication. Today it's called Hanukkah. Nowhere in the Old Testament do we see anything mentioned about that feast. It is a non-Mosaic Jewish festival, but Jesus attended it because it was part of the Jewish history and culture and part of their, historical landscape. So that event originally took place about 175 BC when the Jews were miraculously delivered under the leadership of a family called the Maccabees, and the oil in the temple was preserved so that the lamps kept going. And you can read about the Feast of Hanukkah, but it's not a feast among the feasts that God told the Jews to observe. Why then was Jesus observing it? Someone could have told Jesus that's not a biblical feast. Well, no, Jesus knew that. But it doesn't have to be something clearly taught in the Bible for you to get involved. When it comes to the celebration of Christmas and even Easter, my advice to Christians is eat the meat, spit out the bone. You need to choose what you want to get involved in these observances and what you're going to stay away from, you're not going to participate in because it's too pagan. The whole idea, like I said, of Christmas trees and so on, when you look at the origin and you read Jeremiah 10, you will say, whoa, that's Babylonianism. But you may come by the Antoine family home and you may most likely see a Christmas tree there. And you say, Patrick, are you flip-flopping? No, the thing is, not because something has pagan origin means that everyone who involves in some aspect of it has pagan intentions. And you need to be very careful with that, because the reason why most of us put up Christmas trees today is because of the beautiful lights and the effects and the whole cultural setting, and you may not have anything to do with the origins of the Babylonian system. Fear enough. So you decide what you want to get involved in, keeping in mind that a lot of these things have nothing to do with the Bible. But nothing is wrong with celebrating some aspects of Christmas. And I am not one of those who's going to be trying to fight against history and the reality of the pagan influences by telling people don't celebrate Christmas and it's so pagan. Listen, like I said earlier, eat the meat, spit out the bone. You choose what you want to get beneficial from it. So I want to close by giving you 4 quick reasons why I think Christians should and churches should celebrate, depending on how you view the word celebrate, Christmas in some way. 1, it's a time when people are more open to the message of the gospel and the claims of the Bible than any other time in the year. Take advantage of that. 2, it's an opportunity to proclaim the biblical message of the incarnation. Do you believe that God came in the flesh in the person of Jesus Christ, whether in December, June, September? That's part of the New Testament message. And at that time of the year, we have the opportunity to proclaim that message of the incarnation. So it's an opportunity to proclaim the biblical message of the incarnation, separating it from pagan myths and folklore. Let people know what the truth is about Jesus' birth. 3rd, it's a season for Christians to revisit and reaffirm the biblical truths about the identity and mission of the Messiah. We need the message of, whether you call it Christmas or the incarnation. And finally, it's a time for Christians to demonstrate the love of God in tangible ways when many are depressed or even suicidal. For decades I've been hearing, I don't know what the statistics are locally, that time of the year is a time when suicides increase because a lot of people are depressed because their expectancy was so high, and then they end up empty. Loved ones who they thought would have been there at that time of the year with them are no longer there, and so on. And a lot of people turn to they attempt suicide and so out of a state of depression. This is an opportunity for Christians to minister the love of God to people who are hurting and in need in one way or the other. So it's up to you to decide what aspects of Christmas you want to celebrate and what you want to stay away from. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. Jesus celebrated a festival that's not in the Bible. He went to it in John chapter 10. You can celebrate it without getting into all that is involved in it. My name is Patrick Antoine. So that's my response to that question about celebrating Christmas. If you have a question and would like me to provide an answer to it, please use the email on the screen, send it off to me, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Until then, grace